Hi, how are you? I'm Brett Odgers. I've just been explaining the four possible futures that come out of a crisis like we're experiencing right now. And now I wanted to show you what I think are the main things that we can do as business leaders, as thought leaders, to actually have a really positive impact on this. This is the model that I'd like to suggest is how we can thrive and survive this crisis, or really any crisis. Now, at the center of this model, what we've got is a really positive, bright future. So that's the bright future that we talked about in the four futures model. And at the center of that is this. Now, when that happens, I think that actually, in terms of business, we're not experiencing any loss. You know, we don't have the business turn upside down. We don't have the business go into bankruptcy. We have no loss. Coupled with that, I think, is actually no fear. I think people really want to feel assured about the future and to dispel that fear, because what we're seeing right now is a massive fear reaction. We're seeing people really worried about loss of their jobs, loss of their health, loss of their business, loss of connection. So they're the two things. The other thing that I think people would really like to see is a vision of a bright future. So what are people really wanting in order to survive and thrive? Is they want to know how to stop loss. They want to know how to deal with fear, and they want to know what the bright future looks like. So let's talk a little bit about that. I think that there are three principal areas that we need to focus on in order to make this happen. The first one, and I think it's incredibly important, is community. Community is actually all about connection. Now, in times like this, when it's quite a crisis, it's really important that we create, maintain and support our community. It's incredibly important that we connect with each other. And when we connect with each other, that's when we actually can really make a difference and help our people. The second one is that what we really need to do is get creative. We need to tap into our creativity, because creativity is where your options come from. So if you can get a little bit more creative about the products you're working with, how you can pivot and support your clients better, how you can repackage what you do so that it's more easily delivered to people in this crisis situation, now you've got a real resilience. Now, the third one that we need to talk about is we need to keep the cash in your business and in your families and in your lives. We need to have the resources to be able to manage this, because cash in a business situation, what it's about is resources. So when we get these right, this is where our outcomes come from. So if we think about, if we can get community right and creativity right, we can get our connection and our options. This is going to feed into the fact that we're going to banish fear. We're going to get fear out of the way because we know who we're connected to and we know what options we've got. When we get community right and we really have a good cash management or resource management system, now we're banishing that fear of loss. We're actually starting to look at abundance. And when we can get our creativity and our options really in good shape and our resources together, now we're looking at a really bright future. So this is the three pillars, I think, of surviving and thriving through these circumstances. So let's talk a little bit about what the elements are that you can actually do, the practical applications in each of these areas. In community, the very first thing is communication. Now, I think maintaining and developing communication is incredibly important. As a thought leader, it's our position, it's our job to actually lead our community right now. I work with a lot of authors who are developing books and building their businesses around those books. It's time for all of you to start sharing your ideas with the world because they need them right now. The next one is psychology. Psychology or mindset. We really need to get our mindset right. There is so much evidence that the way we manage our thoughts is going to manage what we do. The way we perceive the world is going to become our reality, that we need to manage that, because right now people are really gripped by fear and uncertainty. So we need some tools around managing that. And of course, in business and in health, we need uninterrupted service. Uninterrupted services. So what do we got to do to keep our services going? What do we got to do to communicate with our clients? We have some amazing technology that can help us do that now so that we can remain physically isolated but socially connected. I think that's really available to us now. And that's where we start to get into the creativity, because technology is really going to help us at the moment. Video communication is now inexpensive and available all over the world. It's time we started using it. The next thing is we need to start expanding on our boundaries. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you're a local business, maybe it's time for you to go global. I mean, if you're a physical event person, maybe it's time for you to go to virtual events. Whatever you're doing, now is the opportunity to expand on your boundaries. And I would say in business and in thought leadership, it's time to really focus on your niche. Now, my niche in my business is team leadership and culture. And what I'm describing here is a culture of thriving and surviving. And so I'm embracing my niche and trying to help you guys by understanding exactly what you can do and how you can do it. Now, the third pillar, cash, resources. Really, what we need to do is work on our cash reserves. Now, what do we have? What do we have in savings? What do we have in money that's owed to the business? What do we have in resources that are available to us in case we need it? If your business is going to be in lockdown for a couple of weeks, we're going to need some cash resources to actually manage all of that. And in order to do that, we're going to need to manage the cash gap. And that means just some good, solid bookkeeping and business practices. We need to manage what goes out, we need to manage what comes in, and we need to keep that gap as low as possible. Now, the third area to this that I think is really important is that we need to trim excess, not people. So right now, our job is to look after people. If one of your children weren't top performing, would you chuck them out and just say, okay, next? No, of course you wouldn't. You love them, you want to keep them part of your family, and you want to encourage them. Same with your people. Your people are what's going to get you through this. Your people are what's going to get you thriving and really accelerating once we hit that event horizon and we move into past the recovery stage. So what excess can we trim? In a lot of our businesses, we've got little things that have crept in and we're just paying the bills and we're not even thinking about it. But what excess is there that we could trim that would just get our costs down to make managing the cash reserves just that little bit easier? So that's my thrive and survive model. So there's a lot of practical things that you can do in there. Please share this with anyone that you think could get value out of it. I'm really happy to help anyone that would like some help. Just contact me, message me, email me. I'm happy to help out with any of this, suggesting tech, suggesting how to go about it, how to help your clients and help your clients thrive and survive.